And we are marketing and manufacturing mental illness at a staggering rate in this country. So I'm going, this is not going to work. We're not going to close that gap. So then I thought I'd ask the clinicians. So I cross-referenced everything from the skills for social emotional learning, the skills for emotional intelligence, which everybody wants, doesn't require a diagnosis, helps you do better in your work, helps you make more money, helps you have better relationships personally, with the foundational learnings required for skills for psychological recovery from the National Center for PTSD, and skills for trauma recovery based on a literature search in some of the medical libraries that I have access to because I teach at Georgetown University Medical Center as an adjunct instructor in the psychiatry department. Well, guess what? They're all the same. Pretty much all the same, about a 95% overlap. I thought, hot diggity, here we go. What happens if we look at those skills, which are self-awareness, self-regulation, social awareness, social skills, empathy, and decision-making? What happens if we look at those and begin to think about them through the lens of trauma-informed thinking? Then I thought, well, let's see what the clinicians think. So I researched, went out and did a 3,000 clinician survey online and said, if we could bring you folks who had higher levels of emotional intelligence through a trauma-informed lens, would that make your work easier? Yes, was the answer. And so I asked a subset, why, how? And what they told me was exactly what I thought I might hear and hoped I might hear, which is that if you have people who have higher levels of emotional intelligence, especially through a trauma-informed lens, it doesn't take as much time to get to the point of doing the work that needs to be done. They're sturdier. They're more resilient. They can tolerate the discomfort of the work with less loss of functioning. This is great news. Now, I know you might say, well, that's too simple. Well, sometimes things are. So I developed the Trauma Informed Academy and all of its content as a way of putting all of these skills into play through a trauma-informed lens to make it easier for people, clinicians who bring their histories with them, folks who receive services, in terms of their history, and all the rest of us. Although it can be used as aftercare, it can be used in provider networks for provider support. It can be used to help frontline staff develop trauma-informed skills, all without traumatic experiences learning. That's it. I hope it makes some sense to you. And of course, I'd love to talk about it with you more. Reach out to me, Elizabeth Power, at the Trauma Informed Academy. You can find me at elizabethpower.com or through thetraumainformedacademy.com.